In this video, we're going to take a look at how to show our degree of uncertainty or the amount of error in data that we've already graphed. And so in this graph that I have here, we're looking at the percent change in mass per different molarities of solutions. We've got 0, 0.2, and all the way up to a 1 molar solution. And if you look at my data table, I've got here's the different molarities. I've got a number of trials for each of these different molarities. I've previously calculated the mean or the average for each of these, and then also the standard deviation. And with this information, we can add in these. We can add in bars here to show and to see kind of our degree of overlap or the amount of uncertainty that we have for each of these. So to do that, I'm going to click on my data points here, and if I click on one of them, it'll highlight all of them, and it'll show me where that data is coming from in my spreadsheet. And there's two different ways that we can insert these bars. In my version of Excel on a Mac, on chart layout right here, I have an option for adding in titles and grid lines and modifying the axes, adding trend lines. And I also have an option to add error bars right here. I can also right click on these data points here, and I'm going to format the data series. And you'll notice that under my drop-down list here, there's this is an option. And so when I'm actually creating these, I want to create these for this graph particularly, and for most graphs you'll probably create. I'm going to create vertical y-axis bars here, and to display these, I'm going to do both. I want a positive and a negative, and I personally prefer to have a cap on the end of these. And I'm not going to do a fixed or percentage or standard deviation. I'm going to do a custom value. That custom value is going to be something that you have previously already determined. And in our case, that's going to be the standard deviation. It's actually pretty easy to do that. So for both the positive and the negative, we're going to use the standard deviation because that's going to be how much the range above or below that value that we've calculated of our uncertainty, where that value could fall under. Obviously, the smaller the standard deviation, the more precise our measurements, our expectations of a measurement. So let's go ahead and add these in. I'm going to click. I'm going to delete this value here, and then I'm going to click and drag from the 0 molar to 1 molar. So 0 molar is right here to 1 molar. And I'm going to do that the same process for the negative as well. So click for 0 molar, drag to 1, and that will be both positive and negative. They're both going to be the standard deviation. So it'll be one standard deviation above and one standard deviation below. Press OK, and then press OK. And you can see here it's added the bars for each of these different points. Looking at our standard deviations and looking at the data table, we can see this one not too bad. Too much of a spread is probably one of the lowers, the lowest. These three right here. This last one has a pretty big degree of uncertainty. This is a pretty big uncertainty. And something else that's kind of interesting about it is this degree of uncertainty overlaps with both of these. And so ideally, the smaller these bars, the more precise you would suggest your measurements. And so those are the steps to adding in error bars and degree of uncertainty so that you can show the range that you would expect these measurements, these values to fall under based off of your test here.